And in the introduction, you say discipline gives us freedom, which again feels like that's typically not what people think of discipline. We think of discipline as taking our freedom and making our lives, as you say, more rigid.
Yeah.
As you were saying then, like more rigid and less choices, less optionality. But in the introduction of your book, you say discipline gives us freedom.
I think that a lot of the discussions about motivation can cause people to believe that there's some magical state that they need to be in before they do something.
Yeah, and as I've said since day one, motivation is a feeling that comes and goes, and it doesn't matter whether it's there or not. Discipline is infinitely more important. So no matter how you feel, get up and do what you're supposed to do. That's it. And that's discipline. It's not motivation. If you only did what you were supposed to do when you were motivated to do it, that's leaving it to chance. But if you're disciplined, you go do what you're supposed to do. That's the way it works.
You know, you want to be a little bit better in some way tomorrow than you are today, but it's not going to be in a linear path. You have to really do the work. Like, you have to back it with hard work.
I don't care how you perceive David Goggins. I walk in a room now and I know the hours and years and decades I put into David Goggins. It's not on the wall. It's not a trophy on the wall. It's not a medal on your neck. It is actually a feeling in your heart. Through my journey, I figured out the one piece I was missing. The one piece I was missing was me having the courage to face myself.
Wake up every single day thinking about how can I change my life? Because what you want, it hunts you every single night. See, the big dogs, they won't give you the opportunity. You're gonna have to take it.
I need you to tell yourself right now, there is no other way. There is no other way. There is no other way. Future belongs to the discipline.
You know what I'm saying? And you're very undisciplined, and you're emotionally undisciplined. And if you could develop this discipline now, you will get much further ahead at a much faster rate.
We want to talk so soft to ourselves. We're looking for that recovery day. And that recovery day is everything in your life. Everything in your life is a recovery day. We're looking for it. It's not coming. It's not coming. Mm-hmm. Get over that recovery day.
What could you do to improve yourself? Well, let's step one step backwards. The first question might be, why should you even bother improving yourself? And I think the answer to that is something like, so you don't suffer any more stupidly than you have to. Accept responsibility for the catastrophe of your life. And that way you transcend it. And there's an unbelievably hopeful message in there. And the message is, you're actually strong enough to do that, you just don't know it. And you won't find out till you do it. You can't find out till you do it. But if you did it, you'd find out that it was true. Bargain with the future. Wow, that's just, what an idea that is, you know, it's so unlikely. It's a massive risk. It's the ultimate in risks, right? You have to be willing to lose your life in order to find it. What you're willing to forego today's pleasure for tomorrow's advantage, and that's what sacrifice is. And I would say, start where you can start. You know, if something announces itself to you as in need of repair, that you could repair, then hey, fix it. You fix 100 things like that, your life will be a lot different. If I wanted to spend 10 minutes making this room better, what would I have to do? And you have to ask yourself that, right? It's not a command, it's like a genuine question. And things will pop out in the room that you know, there's a stack of papers over there that's kind of bugging you, and you know that maybe little order there would be a good thing. There's some rubbish behind your computer monitor that you haven't attended to for like 6 months, and the room would be slightly better if it was a little less dusty and the cables weren't all tangled up the same way. And if you allow yourself just to consider the expanse in which you exist at that moment, there'll be all sorts of things that'll pop out in it that you could just fix. So life is brutal, and what you have to set against that is possibility. So I would say if you're 16 and your life isn't so happy, it's like, look around and see if there are opportunities that people are granting you, even imperfect opportunities, because they're going to be imperfect, that you could exploit in the proper way and learn and grow. But the fundamental lesson, the more fundamental lesson that's underneath that is don't let what you are stop you from being what you could be. So imagine that there's you and there's the potential inside you, whatever that is, you know. And potential is an interesting idea because it represents something that isn't yet real, yet we act like it's real. And that potential is partly what you could be if you interacted with the world in a manner that would gain you the most information. If you take yourself and you put yourself in a new environment, new genes turn on in your nervous system. They encode for new proteins. And so you're full of biological potential that won't be realized unless you move yourself around in the world into different challenging circumstances, and that'll turn on different circuits.
The official definition of self-discipline is the ability to control one's feelings and overcome one's weaknesses. Also, it's the ability to pursue what one thinks is right, despite temptations to abandon it. See, the problem with you is you rarely exercise your self-discipline muscle. You just go with the flow, no backbone whatsoever. And that's perfectly fine until you start whining and complaining about your lack of success. Whining and complaining about your lack of progress. Whining and complaining that you're not gaining any momentum and you can't seem to get ahead in life. See, self-discipline begins with the mastery of your thoughts. If you don't control what you think, you can't control what you do. So don't talk to me about your failures. Don't talk to me about your setbacks. Don't talk to me about the lack of success you are achieving, because I'm that one. I'm that one that will tell you the exact reason why you are failing. You're failing because on a daily basis, you fail to exercise your self-discipline muscle. On a daily basis, you fail to sacrifice. You're failing because on a daily basis, you fail to come up with a plan. On a daily basis, you fail to get uncomfortable. You fail to push past your limits. And you fail to believe in yourself. So this is the moment that you stop renting your problems. This is the moment you stop renting your issues. This is the moment that you stop renting your lack of focus. This is the moment that you stop renting your lack of self-discipline. It's time for you to take ownership. It's time for you to own the fact that you're the reason. It's time for you to own the fact that you're the one that's exercising your lazy muscle. It's time for you to own the fact that you're the one that's exercising your do-nothing muscle. You're the one that's exercising your negative mindset muscle. You're the one that's exercising your no willpower muscle. But that's okay, because so many others, include myself, were once in the exact same place that you are right now. And then we sat down and had a heart-to-heart conversation with ourselves. We self-assessed and took complete ownership for all of the lack of success that we were achieving. Then we made the decision to flip the switch and made the necessary changes to go into the kitchen of our lives and cook up a dish of massive success. And we quickly realized that a key ingredient is self-discipline. See, self-discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. Self-discipline is the magic power that makes you virtually unstoppable. Self-discipline is the center of the universe for success. Self-discipline is doing within while you're doing without. And what that means is when your friends are begging you to go hang out and you say no because you're way too busy grinding hard to put yourself in position to win in your game of life. I love this quote from the late great Zig Ziglar. He says, when you do the things you ought to do, when you ought to do them, the day will come when you can do the things that you want to do, when you want to do them. See, without self-discipline, success is not possible, period. So I need you to ask yourself, do you have the strength to say no when so many others say yes. I need you to ask yourself, do you have the strength to keep working when so many of your friends are playing? I need you to ask yourself, do you have the strength to keep going when so many others are stopping? I need you to ask yourself, do you have the strength to keep fighting when so many others are throwing in the towel? Because if you can answer yes to all of those questions, you are well on your way to joining the 1% Club. You are well on your way to living the life of your dreams. So now is the time for you to hit the gym of your life and start exercising your self-discipline muscle. No more talk, no more excuses. From this moment forward, it's all about massive execution. Will there be days that you don't feel like it? Yes. Will there be days that you want to stop? Yes. Will there be days that you want to give up? Yes. Will there be days that you want to quit? Yes. Listen to me. Quitting is never an option. So get up and do it anyway. Because when you push yourself to do and you get started, you will be amazed at how all of a sudden you have the energy you need to get it done. Sometimes you have to trick yourself and say, I'm just gonna spend 5 minutes working on this project. You get started, and all of a sudden, an hour later, you not only complete it, but you also feel an amazing sense of pride and accomplishment. I want you to understand this. You will not always be motivated to do something. So you have to force yourself to be disciplined, because those that are undisciplined allow moods, appetites, passions, and temptation to dominate their lives. But that is no longer who you are, because you are now officially part of the Doers Club. You are now officially part of the Winners Club. You are now officially part of the Champions Club. You are now officially part of the Those with Self-Discipline Club. Because you now understand that with self-discipline, all things are possible. You now understand that great leaders always have self-discipline. You now understand that great entrepreneurs always have self-discipline. You now understand that great champions always have self-discipline. You now understand that great athletes always have self-discipline, because they understand that self-discipline is about controlling your desires and impulses while staying focused on what needs to get done to achieve your goal. The late, great Kobe Bryant said, I don't understand lazy people. We don't speak the same language. I don't understand you, and I don't want to understand you. See, Kobe understood that at the center of bringing any dream, any goal, or any success into fruition is a little thing we like to call self-discipline. How you will go from below average to average, from average to good, from good to great, and from great to phenomenal. Yes, you, ordinary you. You want to lose that weight. You want to get that six-pack. You want to get that job promotion. You want to graduate from college with a bachelor's, a master's, or a PhD. You want to start that business. You want to make that team. You want to become the best version of yourself. You have to remember, all success starts with self-discipline. It starts with you. Abraham Lincoln said, discipline is choosing between what you want now and what you want most. You only have two options. Suffer the pain of discipline or suffer the pain of regret. The choice is yours.
Here's the thing. If you want your future, then keep listening. There are going to be days where you're going to be so inundated with responsibility, and you are going to want to completely let go of the vision, of the dream. And as bad as you want to hold it in your hand, you're gonna wanna let go of it all and quit. And I don't care if you have to listen to me 10,000 times. If you have to listen to this in your sleep, write it down, read it every day until the dream becomes a reality. This is the power of discipline. The race is not given to the swift nor the strong, but it is he that endures to the end. They say that discipline is doing what you hate like you love it. For some of you, it might be reading. For some of you, it might be exercising. I don't know what it is that you hate, but do it like you love it and do it daily. In order to understand discipline, discipline is revealed in our daily routines and rituals. Discipline unfolds. If you want your future, you have to cross the bridge of discipline. If you want to get out of the room of ordinary, you have to go through the door of discipline. If you want to dig yourself out of murky, muddy water, if you want to claw your way to the top, you are going to have to climb the wall of discipline. There is no other way. I need you to tell yourself right now, there is no other way. There is no other way. There is no other way. The future belongs to the discipline. Discipline is found in our daily routine, our daily rituals. You may use discipline on occasion, but you're not disciplined. And there's a difference between having discipline and being disciplined. When you have discipline, you're selective. When you have discipline, you're conditional. It depends on how you feel. When you are disciplined, how you do anything is how you do everything, and everything you do, you show up at 1,000%. Everything you do, you execute with a spirit of excellence. That's what discipline looks like. Seize the moment. Lean into now. See the power, the beauty, the brilliance, the privilege in now. There are people who are dead and gone and they will never be back. And if they could come back, they would kill to live your now. So be thankful for now. Love your now. Number one, you're going to have to discover or define in your head what success looks like for you. Because success is not completely wrapped up in what your mom thinks or what your dad thinks or what anybody else thinks. Success is wrapped up in this truth. What do you believe you are destined to become? What do you believe you are destined to do? So you need to get crystal clear on what that looks like for you. Because it may not look like it did for your sister, your brother, your mom, your auntie, your uncle. What does it look like for you? Define it. Some of us don't have a defined purpose. And this is why everything we do is random. This is why you can waste 2 hours on the internet doing nothing. This is why you waste time, because our purpose is not defined. Our future, we're not crystal clear on our future. Once we discover and we define what does success look like for me, what does the future look like for me, once we're crystal clear on that, we got to discover, we got to define, we got to get dedicated. We got to do those things that we hate like we love it. A wise man once said, conquer yourself. This is wrapped up in dedication. We have to get dedicated. Conquer yourself. Once you've unlocked those daily routines, those daily rituals that you stay committed to, the game's gonna change. The only way you're gonna get dedicated is if you eliminate all distractions. And you gotta be so dedicated that every distraction gets blocked out. You gotta learn how to turn your phone off, turn the technology off. When the speech is over, when the moment is done, when the song and the dance has ended, you gotta learn how to eliminate all distractions. Who are you with? That is a distraction. Where do you go? That is a distraction. So there's who's and there's what's and there's where's that are distractions in our life, and we have to identify them and eliminate them. This is the only way we stay dedicated. Look, go find a mirror and look in that mirror and say, motivated, dedicated, motivated, dedicated. So we discover, we define, we dedicate ourselves. We do what we hate like we love it. We conquer ourselves. We identify and eliminate all distractions. And so now you're gonna have to have some perseverance. We talk about perseverance, we're talking about persistent, we're talking about pressing and pushing towards something despite difficulty, despite delay, despite distractions, despite the doubters, despite the naysayers. This is somebody who perseveres, who has an unwavering tenacity to achieve what it is that they see in their head. You gotta learn to love where you are. Disciplined people are people that have an aim. They have a target. But they are also a people that understand the beauty, the brilliance, and the power of now. You gotta learn to love now. When we talk about being disciplined, it is somebody that has an objective. Yes, it is somebody that has an end game, a goal, an aim, a target. But a disciplined man or woman learns to love now. You may not be there, but you love who you are becoming. You enjoy, you enthusiastically engage in the everyday grind, and you love the lessons that you're learning. You may not be there yet. It's still in sight, it's still on the horizon, but you are ecstatic and elated about the lessons you are learning on a daily basis. You gotta love the fact that you may be a D, a F, or a C student, and you know you were designed to be an A+ student, but you gotta learn to love yourself right where you are. You may not have it yet, you may not see it all yet, you may not have the full support system, you may not even understand completely where God wants to take you. But if you would just love your now, this comes with gratitude, appreciation, a heart of thanksgiving for now. Hear truth. You will never be here again. The age that you are, the place where you are, the connections that you have, this very moment, we will never be here again. Seize the moment. If I were to give you one last piece of advice, remember this last point. Now that you're crystal clear on where you're going, who you believe you've been destined to become, what you believe you've been destined to do, you need to fix your eyes on somebody who's already done it. And so you've got to be surrounded by a multitude of counsel and mentors and coaches and people that will provoke you and agitate you to greatness. And so if all of your friends are beneath you, if you're the smartest person in the room, you've already lost. If majority of your network is a distraction, you're bankrupt. If everybody's language is you work too hard, you read too much, you care too much, you're doing too much, it doesn't take all that. Your relationship landscape is bankrupt. It's time to get out of debt. It's time to get out of debt. Eliminate distractions. Love your now.
Now, I often tell people too, fix the things you repeat every day, because people tend to think of those as trivial. You get up, you brush your teeth, you have your breakfast, you have your routines that you go through every day. Well, those probably constitute 50% of your life. And people think, well, they're mundane, I don't need to pay attention to them. It's like, no, that's exactly wrong. The things you do every day, those are the most important things you do. Hands down. All you have to do is do the arithmetic. You figure it out right away. So 100 adjustments to your broader domain of being, and there's a lot less rubbish around and a lot fewer traps for you to step into. Once you've got your mind and your emotions together, and once you're acting that out, then you can extend what you're willing to consider yourself and start fixing up the things that are part of your broader extent. While you're experiencing things announce themselves as in need of repair, doesn't mean that it's you right then and there that should repair them. You have to have some humility. You don't walk up to a helicopter that isn't working and just start tinkering away with it. You have to stay within your domain of competence. But most of the time, if people look at their lives, it's a very interesting thing to do. I like the idea of the room, because you can do that at the drop of a hat. You go back to where you live and sit down and think, okay, I'm going to make this place better for half an hour. What should I do? You have to ask, and things will just pop up like mad. And it's partly because your mind is a very strange thing. As soon as you give it a name, a genuine aim, it'll reconfigure the world in keeping with that aim. That's actually how you see to begin with. And so if you set it a task, especially, you have to be genuine about it, which is why you have to bring your thoughts and emotions together, and then you have to get them in your body so you're acting consistently. You have to be genuine about the aim, but once you aim, the world will reconfigure itself around that aim, which is very strange. And it's technically true. And so I think that you can, in fact, decide to take on the load that's optimally meaningful if you want, and then you get to have your cake and eat it too. You're on the pathway to continual incremental improvement. You only have to burn off a feather at a time instead of having the whole bloody thing burst into flames. It's a constant source of renewal. And there's an idea that to be renewed, you have to drink the water of life. That's an old mythological idea. Chaos is water. Water is chaos. Water is what washes away too much order. And to stay continually refreshed by the water of life is to take on exactly the right amount of chaos to make sure that your garden is properly nourished. And I think meaning is actually the marker of that. You don't choose your interests, they choose you. And that's really worth thinking about too, man, because it's really hard to get interested in something you're not interested in, even if you know there's a good reason for it. You're studying for an exam, you find the material boring, anything will be more interesting than the studying. Even though you know that that's what you need to do, you can't voluntarily grab yourself by the scruff of the neck, let's say, and shake yourself and say, sit down and concentrate. Your mind will just go everywhere. But then if you're interested in something, and even if it's something you shouldn't be interested in, because that happens all the time, then it's like you're laser focused, man. You can pay attention forever. You can work until you're exhausted. You won't even notice it, and you remember everything. It's like, okay, if you can't control your interest, what does? Your interest was being manipulated behind the scenes by unseen forces that were associated with your characterological development across time. That was the manifestation of the self. So the self is the potential you, let's say. And the way it operates in the present is by gripping your interest and directing it somewhere. And that's part of the instinct of self-realization. It's a mind-boggling idea, man, really. It's the potential that you are has to manifest itself somehow in the here and now. It has to. And what better way than by directing your attention? It's like, it seems like this might be useful for you. Or maybe you get attracted to this person. Maybe you admire this person. That happens with kids a lot. They'll admire someone and then copy them. And you can see that that's obviously part of their developmental progression, right? It's a form of hero worship, but kids are very imitative and they hero worship at the drop of a hat. And so they're entranced by the next stage of development. And if they see someone who embodies that, especially if it's in the zone of proximal development, it's something they could achieve, stretching a bit. They find someone who embodies that next stage of development, and then they start to imitate them and act like them. Well, adults are no different. We're no different. We do it at a perhaps more abstract and sophisticated level.
Life isn't just about existing, it's about thriving. The secret weapon that transforms potential into power is discipline. Discipline isn't glamorous or easy. It's not a place of comfort, but a battlefield where you confront your weaknesses and make the choice to rise above them. How often have you looked at your life with disappointment, knowing you could achieve more? How many times have you let opportunities slip away, clinging to the comfort of the familiar because of your fear of change? It's time to break free and embrace the power of discipline. Discipline is the secret for those who live their lives bravely. It's for those who rise while others sleep. For those who see obstacles as challenges to conquer, not excuses to embrace. Success isn't about being the most talented. It's about embracing the power of discipline and using it to your full advantage. Discipline isn't about perfection, it's about relentless pursuit. Shatter your self-imposed limits and discover your true power. You want to achieve greatness? You need to embrace the power of discipline to get there. No one else can climb your mountain for you. It's your strength and discipline that will propel you upward. Take control, lead your own journey. Quick fixes are illusions. True success demands consistent effort and perseverance. The easy path is often the most treacherous. Embrace the hard path. It's the road to true power. Life is unfair, but each of us is the architect of our destiny. Choose the path of responsibility, hard work, and sacrifice. This is the path to true freedom. Every freedom has a price, and that price is discipline. It's the root of all good things, applied to every aspect of life, from waking up early to achieving your greatest goals. Discipline is training every day to become stronger, faster, smarter, all to lead to the ultimate version of yourself. It's a mindset shift, a commitment to control your life so others won't be able to. Without training, there's no growth. The same goes for discipline. Practice it daily. If you lack discipline, you won't achieve much. But if you embrace it, your life will transform. Consistency. It compels us to act in harmony with our values, cultivating a life of purpose. Consistency allows us to incorporate our lives to be better, functional, and give our lives the peace we deserve. Through discipline, we navigate distractions and remain centered on our true objectives. Our focus leads us to what we want to do for the rest of our lives. To be focused is to have a deeper understanding of ourselves, our values, our goals, our very being. To be focused is to be one with ourselves. To be unfocused is to live our lives in chaos and misery. We cannot blame the obstacles in our paths for us not reaching our full potential. It is a challenge, not an excuse to stop. Through the failures, mistakes, and errors, we build ourselves up to handle whatever life throws at us. Growth is continuous. It's not a one-time event, but a lifestyle. Train your mind and body, apply basic principles consistently, and watch your life change. It's about doing the right things repeatedly. Wake up on time, stick to your routines, prepare your meals, follow your habits, complete your tasks, face your fears with discipline, choose the hard path, the uphill struggle. That's where true power lies. Make discipline your ally. Unleash your inner power and conquer every challenge life throws at you.
If you have discipline, you will attain freedom. Train, study, work, practice. Train, study, work, practice. Train, study, work, practice. Standing there, lost, and not doing anything is just waiting to die, waiting to starve to death. Don't let that happen. Your excuses will destroy you and take everything that you ever wanted from you if you let them. When your excuses make you feel a little bit better about the fact that you didn't execute on what you needed to execute on, then they can make you feel better, but they're not helping you. If you want freedom in your life, you have to have discipline. Start now. Go do something that's hard. Go try and accomplish something that's hard. You may win, you may lose, you may succeed, you may fail. I'll tell you what, you'll be better. If you don't accept that challenge, if you don't step up and step into that cold water, this is not a good move. Don't do that. Don't do that. Just get up. Move towards that challenge, whatever that challenge is. Move towards that challenge and go attack it. You have to start moving forward. You have to start taking steps in order to improve your vision, improve your perspective, change your perspective, make some kind of progress. And worst case scenario, you figure out that you walked the wrong direction. Okay, now you can go walk in the other direction. What you learn to do is, okay, I'm gonna go forward, I'm not gonna quit, so I'm gonna go forward, bring it on. And I think if there's anything that you learn, it's to keep pushing through things that suck.
Is today the day where you make excuses? Or is today the day you make a decision? Is today the day you get distracted? Or is today the day you get laser focused and do great work? Is today the day you get stressed, doubt yourself, you feel anxiety, frustration, anger? Or is today the day you dominate your day by taking control? The easiest choice to make is to go down the road most traveled. The challenging choice to make is to tread a new path. The question is, are you ready to go down the path to your greatness? Every day, there is always an opportunity to build, to create, to advance, to make progress. And you're either moving forwards or you're going backwards. If you want to make breakthroughs and move through the resistance that you're probably always going to have, but moving through it in a way that you make progress, you become more. It's now time for you to listen to your future self. A great life, it doesn't happen by chance. It happens by design. So every day where you feel that resistance and you have the thoughts of, I could do it later, recognize that within that moment, you have the ability to use the power to take action. The challenge is to just get started. Not now, but right now. So today, look at all the things that you could do and ask yourself, do you want to win? You see, to win is to know what's important now. Say it with me, bring it on. Bring on the resistance, bring on the challenge, and allow yourself to have the feeling of elation when you've got started and you've done something that you said that you were going to do. And the more you do this, the better you will feel, the more adept and the stronger you will become at moving through the resistance that we all face. What's the greatest thing that you will ever do? Just get started. You see, how you do anything is how you do everything. And the fact is, it all comes down to one thing. That one thing is choice. And what's the easiest choice to make? Well, the easiest choice to make is to choose what you've chosen before. And if you always do what you've always done, then you'll always get what you've always got. Ultimately, your attention is your superpower. Your attention to focus on now what needs to be done. And this is the difference between success and failure. If life was a garden, then what sort of state is the garden of your life in? Because the natural state of the garden is decay. And if you don't look after the garden, then you know what happens, right? It gets out of control. You have weeds, and then there can be a lot of work to do. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now, but I would say it's not now, it's right now. It's really all about just playing the game of life and making progress. And maybe now it's time to wake up and realize the ultimate choice. The choice of who are you listening to? And I don't mean my voice, I mean the voices in your head. And I actually said the voices, because maybe there's more than one. When you woke up this morning, these voices started. Did you hear that voice that said, stay here, it's lovely, it's warm, it's comfortable? Or did you hear that other voice that said, hey, come on, let's get up, let's go? Which one are you listening to? It's the same challenge for most of us. It's who we're listening to. And I'd like to introduce you to someone. It's the voice of your future self. And you could think of me like a lawyer who's come from your future self to say, hey, your future self is talking to you. It's just maybe you haven't really been paying attention. Most people today are actually living a future they don't want. It's called a default future. And what's the hardest thing to do to create a new future? It's to build a compelling relationship to your future self and just get started. But I know sometimes with the things we've got to do, they might seem really big. So just doing it might seem like, well, there's just too much to do. But the real key is to just get started. Because our brain will always favor what is easier. Our brains tend to focus on taking the easy path. Anything that grows comes up against resistance. So the resistance that we have to start work, the resistance that we have to start engaging in activities that will create the futures that we want, always require us to move through resistance. And right now, I'd like you to imagine that you go on a journey and in the distance, in the horizon, you see someone and you think, that person looks familiar to me. And as you walk closer to that person, you realize, hang on a second, that's me. It is you, but it's you in the future. And as you get closer to your future self, imagine that future self opens his arms up and gives you a really big hug. And you realize the possibilities that exist for you to become your future self. Is today the day where you get distracted, or is this the day you just get started?
Well, I think it's important to note that the Stoics are talking about self-discipline, right? So discipline is not, the Marine sergeant telling everyone else what to do, how to be, right? The Stoics are talking about the virtue of self-discipline, which is you have your standards that you selected for yourself, that you are living up to. It's not a weapon that you wield against other people, right? And I think so often when we hear discipline, we think disciplinarian, right? Someone who's really strict. One of the beautiful lines in Meditations, Marcus Aurelius says, remember, tolerant with others, strict with yourself. And actually that itself demands so much more discipline, right? To be like, I never accept being late for me or for other people, right? I work hard, I judge people that are not in shape, right? I expect long hours from everyone that works for me. There's that sort of rigid, strict form of discipline. I have found in my own journey, my own life, that it actually requires more discipline to go, this is what I expect of myself, and this is how I'm wired. This is how I operate best. And then I understand that other people, not only do I not control them, but they have different proclivities, different ways of living, different ways of being. And that my job is to figure out how to adapt myself to them instead of forcing them to be like me.
Exactly.
That's kind of how I look at it. It's just the numbers. Like nobody's perfect all the time. Nobody's great all the time. But people will remember you for your greatness when they get to witness it.
Absolutely.
And I think that's something that, people have to understand. Like no matter how good you get, you're still going to have days that are bad.
Yeah.
And I think that's the advice that I would have focused on there, because I didn't really figure that out until I was about 36 years old. I would have sat myself down and had to talk about my own discipline and what it meant to be disciplined in all areas.
Because you weren't as disciplined?
No, I was, at that time at 33, I was 330 pounds. You know, I was drinking all the time, partying all the time. I thought it was cool to be the wild guy, you know, and you know what I'm saying?
Wild man.
Yeah. And that's how I was always that way growing up. And, you know, I wish I would have had someone that sat me down and said, hey, bro, you know, that's not as cool as you think it is. You know what I'm saying? And you're very undisciplined and you're emotionally undisciplined. And if you could develop this discipline now, you will get much further ahead at a much faster rate. Discipline, once you learn it, can be applied to all areas. And so that's the thing that I wish I would have understood at a younger age, that had I had the skills to not only be disciplined in a physical, now, you know, I struggle with my physique. Like, it wasn't like I had never been in shape before. I had just become undisciplined.
Right.
And, you know, I think if I had understood at 33 what that could actually do for me, I would have bought it hook, line, and sinker and dedicated my entire life to it.
And gone all in on it.
Yeah, for sure. The amount of progress that has happened in my life in all areas from the time I started figuring that out to now, I got 20 years worth of results in like 4.5 years.
Amazing.
You know what I'm saying? And so that's the impact of taking true control over your existence, is that it greatly accelerates everything else. I could have saved myself probably 2/3 of the success journey that I was on, just from the shit that I know now that I didn't know then. But more importantly, I could have saved myself tons of mental agony, because I could have reassured that, hey, look, this is just the way it goes.
Yeah.
And this is just part of the deal. And you signed up for this. And nobody ever tells you those things. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Okay, so how does my day look like? So I wake up early in the morning. I wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning. The reason why 4 o'clock in the morning, man, it's a struggle waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning. It's not, you know, it's not easy. And I still want to be challenged. So, you know, now it's going to happen. So the monster, the laziness in me, it's not there anymore. You know, when I say that, the laziness, we all have it. The procrastinator, right? The guy who doesn't want to do shit. The alarm goes off at 4 o'clock in the morning. You're like, oh, my leg's kind of hurting this morning. Maybe I shouldn't run. That guy. See, that guy in me, he's gone because he knows that it doesn't work. The thing is, it's going to happen. So when you say, what is my discipline? I've done it for so long. I've been doing it since I was 9. Discipline is your lifestyle. What is your lifestyle, man? Like, okay, so I could teach you to go to the gym, and you and I, we can get totally jacked in the gym, right? And you and I, we have a good 2-hour sessions in the gym. We burned it down. And you go home and you drink a milkshake and eat like crap.
Well, that is the thing that separates the achievements on the other side of it, right? If it was easy, everyone would do it. If it was easy, everyone would achieve it. So this is one of the things that I try and rely on. So I ruptured my Achilles a couple of years ago. That sucked. I wouldn't advise it as an injury. The discomfort that you feel and the pain, the fear of it re-rupturing, which is the number one thing you don't want it to have happen. The thing that I went back to in my mind was, this is why I'm here. The discomfort that I was feeling, the effort, the pain, the sweat, this is why you're here, was the reminder. It's like, look, this is the reason why the re-rupture rate is 5 to 10%, because people don't want to do this thing. People don't want to do the thing because it hurts, because it takes half an hour every single day for nearly 12 months. It's a full 12-month recovery. That's why. This is why you're here. And I think that you're right. I think that the selection is, people deep down know that picking up heavy things physically, psychologically, existentially, culturally is good for us. And I think that that's why it's attractive.
Life is one big mind game. And you're playing it with yourself. Is it true? I don't care. it got me through the hardest training, starting out broken. Where most people quit, I had just started.
Wow.
And when you take that mindset and you learn to flip that around, that's what made me powerful. God put me in a very interesting spot of life where he made hell my teacher. He made hell my teacher. And a lot of people don't understand that. So I'm trying to give people a different thought process of life where failure, hell, disappointment, discomfort is a great learning tool. And many people don't understand that. And a lot of people won't even understand this interview when we get done with it. But it's these few moments in life that you have. Like for me, I always talk about it. Rocky 1, round 14. That 1 2-minute and 13-second clip of Rocky getting up when Apollo knocked him down. That one clip, when I was going through a very bad time in my life, I saw what I wanted to be. And it wasn't a guy that won. It wasn't a guy that won everything he did. It was a guy that kept getting up after being knocked down. So I realized if that 2 minutes and 13 seconds changed my life, that's all it was. I saw something that I needed to be in the world I was living in. Millions of people live in a very comfortable place, that's fine. Don't listen to me. A lot of people are looking for that 2 minutes and 13 seconds.
So again, I would love to be able to, give you this profound anchor that people need to have. But it's like, oh, do you want to do this or not? Do you actually want to do this or not? Because if you actually want to do it, what's going to stop you? Nothing. And if you don't really want to do it, what's going to stop you? Just about anything that comes up. Just about any obstacle that gets in your way becomes an excuse. It becomes a reason. It becomes a rationale for not proceeding down that path. And this is interesting too. When you talk to people that went to SEAL training that didn't make it, most of the time it's some reason. There's a medical reason. There's a family problem. There's very few people that look at you and say, oh, I quit because it sucked. Which is what, by the way, happens to the vast majority of people. They don't usually say that. And even in their mind, they probably don't believe it. They probably believe, well, it was my leg, and once my leg was hurting, I knew I was gonna have a hard time on the runs, and since I wasn't gonna be able to make the runs, that's why I quit. But it wasn't really quitting, it was because of my leg. So it's like I said, it's a very strange and really kind of a mystical thing.
Excuses. You're talking there about people making excuses. What have you come to learn about the nature of excuses and if they are our friends, our enemies, if they're ever useful?
Your excuses will destroy you and take everything that you ever wanted from you if you let them.
Doesn't sound like a friend.
No, it's definitely not a friend. So when your excuses make you feel a little bit better about the fact that you didn't execute on what you needed to execute on, then they can make you feel better, but they're not helping you. They're not helping you at all.
Is that what when you think about extreme ownership? Are excuses the opposite? Excuses and blame, is that the opposite of extreme ownership?
That is the opposite of extreme ownership. Extreme ownership is, this went wrong, this failed, didn't accomplish this, and it's not the fault of my boss, it's not the fault of my girlfriend, it's not the fault of my parents, it's not the fault of the weather, it's my fault. And I'm gonna take ownership of it, and I'm gonna fix it. That's what extreme ownership is. And this is a very difficult thing to do because it hurts. Because when you look around at your life and you look around at your job and your financial situation and your relationship and your physical health, and when you look at all those things and all the problems that you may have with those things, and you say, the reason I have all those problems is because of me, that can hurt. That can sting. And a lot of times our ego rejects that and makes excuses and lies. And then we don't have to change anything. And then nothing changes. So if you lack the discipline to exercise and eat healthy, you will end up being a slave to disease. If you lack the discipline to work hard, save your money, you will end up a slave to finances. If you lack the discipline to manage your time correctly, you will end up with no free time. If you have self-discipline, if you have the discipline to save your money and work hard and invest your money properly, if you have the discipline to manage your time correctly and not waste a bunch of time, if you have the discipline to exercise and eat healthy, you will end up with freedom.
You've got to be aggressive to make things happen. I mean, if you're not aggressive with things, they don't happen, they don't move. So you're always learning and growing, and I was always learning until the day I retired.
And people can actually confront the fact that this is all because of me, and it hurts, but is also unbelievably empowering, because if these problems are because of me, then I'm capable of fixing these problems. So even though extreme ownership hurts and is painful, it's also liberating, because now you have control over your fate and over your destiny, and that is a glorious thing. I'm not saying take your emotions out of the calculus, but they have to be one component of your calculus, not the whole equation. The equation has to include emotions, yes. Logic, yes. Future, yes. Goals, yes. Family, yes. Work, yes. Finances, yes. All those things have to be in the calculus. Emotions has to be a part of that calculus. You can't pull them out of there or they'll bite you. But you can't make them the overwhelming denominator of everything that you do, or it's going to be problematic. Extreme ownership is, this went wrong, this failed, didn't accomplish this, and it's not the fault of my boss, it's not the fault of my girlfriend, it's not the fault of my parents, it's not the fault of the weather, it's my fault. And I'm gonna take ownership of it, and I'm gonna fix it. That's what extreme ownership is. And this is a very difficult thing to do because it hurts. Because when you look around at your life, and you look around at your job and your financial situation and your relationship and your physical health, and when you look at all those things and all the problems that you may have with those things, and you say, the reason I have all those problems is because of me, that can hurt, that can sting. And a lot of times our ego rejects that and makes excuses and lies. And then we don't have to change anything. And then nothing changes. So again, I would love to be able to, give you this profound anchor that people need to have. But it's like, oh, do you want to do this or not? Which is what I think a lot of it boils down to. Do you actually want to do this or not? Do you actually want to do this or not? Because if you actually want to do it, what's going to stop you? Nothing. And if you don't really want to do it, what's going to stop you? Just about anything that comes up. Just about any obstacle that gets in your way becomes an excuse. It becomes a reason. It becomes a rationale for not proceeding down that path.
If I want to have influence over you, what do I have to do? I actually have to allow you to influence me. How do I get you to trust me? I have to put trust in you. One of the worst situations you can be in is when you think that the little moves that you're making, no one can see them. Mm-hmm. And it's so obvious to everybody else. Everybody else that's watching can see exactly what you're doing. You think, oh, they can't see the maneuvers that I'm making to take care of myself. No, they see, everybody sees, and it ends up destroying you. I have to open my mind up and allow you to influence me. If I just stick with my own ideas, you close your mind as well. If I have a closed mind, you're gonna close my mind. If I want you to care about me, what do I have to do? I have to care about you. Mm-hmm. And by the way, in my opinion, these are the components of a relationship. Right?
Yes, definitely.
If we listen to each other, if we don't listen to each other, we don't have a relationship.
Yeah.
If we don't respect each other, we don't have a relationship. If we're not influenced by each other, we don't have a relationship. So If we don't care about each other, obviously we don't have a relationship. So when you want to build a relationship, what do you have to do? You have to listen to the other person. By the way, this applies to your employees. It applies to your kids. It applies to your spouse. It applies to everyone. If you want them to listen to you, you have to listen to them. And you can't just, I'll stop talking as I prepare my counter for what you're saying right now. It's like I'm literally going to listen to what you have to say and try and open up my mind and open up my perspective so that I understand your world as well as I possibly can. I'm going to integrate that into what my thoughts are, and we're going to come to an understanding. We're going to move forward with a better solution. So the idea of barking orders, the military or any organization can be run through authoritarian dictatorship. Look, you can make it work for a little while, but it's not a long-term solution, and that's what you got to watch out for.
Cancel out the noise. Track and level up the most important areas of your life while listening to your favorite motivational speeches. Download Mindset today.
The bigger your goals are, and the more outrageous they are, then the people will always say, this is crazy, this will never happen. So, we have heard all the naysayers and everything like that. And you just cannot pay any attention to that, because it's just the way it is. I always feel like if I can see it, and if I can believe it, then I can achieve it.
So let me tell you something, visualizing your goal and going after it makes it fun. You got to have a purpose no matter what you do in life. You got to have a purpose.
So the training of the body, extremely important. The training of the mind, extremely important. That's why I say to people, I say you got to educate yourself, you got to read something every day, you got to learn a new language, you got to just always improve and look at what can you do to improve your business or your life in general.
So when someone says, no, this is a stupid idea, you in your mind, you don't have to say it, but in your mind just say to yourself, you're an What do you know?
There are certain things that we need to do that is supposed to be a routine, that's supposed to be kind of part of your daily schedule without you having to think about it. And so that's basically my kind of routine, and I'm a big believer in that. People should just realize that I'm not going to have any sympathy for any of those things, when someone says it's difficult, because there is a lot of things in life that are difficult. And you have to ask yourself the question right off the top, are you going to be one of those guys that are going to go and back off every time something is difficult? Or do you want to be one of those guys that says, look, it doesn't matter if it's easy or difficult or most difficult, I'm going to go and crush through it. That's me. That's the person that I want to be, and I'm going to prove it to myself, and I'm going to prove it to the rest of the world. So yeah, there are certain things that are difficult. It's difficult for people to have a routine, but they just have to go and do that, and they should just work on it, where they go and say, do something very simple. I'm going to go and get up every morning at, let's say, an hour early, before they normally get up, and just work on that. And then the next time they work on it and say, okay, I'm going to get up early, and I'm going to go and make my coffee or my tea or whatever, and I'm going to read papers, even though maybe I haven't read the paper yet in the last 10 years. Just add that to you, and don't even ask about it, should or should I not. That's the key thing about the routine, is that you don't ask yourself, should I or shouldn't I? You just do it.
Let me get right away to the first rule of success. The first rule of success is to have a vision. You see, if you don't have a vision of where you go, and if you don't have a goal where you go, you drift around and you never end up anywhere. It's like you can have the best ship in the world, you can have the best airplane in the world. If the pilot or the captain doesn't know where to go, it will just drift around. It will not end up anywhere, or most likely in the wrong place. So I was very fortunate that I stumbled onto my vision. I mean, as you know, I was born in 1947 in Austria after the Second World War. And I didn't really like Austria when I grew up. I couldn't wait to get out of there. I couldn't see myself becoming a farmer.
or a worker in a factory or anything like that. Even though my parents wanted me to stay there and have a normal life. My father wanted me to become a police officer like he was. My mother wanted me just to stay there and marry a girl with the name of Heidi, hopefully, and have a bunch of kids and run around like the Van Trapp family in The Sound of Music. But that was their vision, not mine. Because when you have a goal, when you have a vision, everything becomes easy. Because remember that in America, for instance, when you study, you will see the percentage of people that like their jobs. 74% hate their job in America. Now, this is not much different when you come to Europe. The majority of people don't like what they're doing because they're really not doing it because they didn't have a goal and they followed this goal. They just aimlessly drift around, and then all of a sudden there's a job opening, so they get that job because you have to work. But then when you work, it's a chore. It's work. It's not fun. So if you think about, only a quarter of the people really enjoy what they're doing in life. That is unbelievable if you think about it. So I felt so blessed that I knew what I was doing. It's like a medical student that studies and knows he wants to become a doctor. You know where to go. Don't listen to the naysayers. Everything I ever did, the thing that I heard out of people's mouth was, that's impossible. That can't be done. Or no. I remember when I wanted to be a bodybuilding champion, including my parents and everyone else around me, said this is impossible. Why don't you become a ski champion? That's what they do in Austria. Or a bicycle champion, they do some track and field. You can't be a bodybuilding champion. That is exactly what I heard, and of course I proved to the people that it can't be done. So whenever someone said to me, it can't be done, I heard it can be done. When they said no, I heard yes. And when they said it's impossible, I heard it is possible. Because I am a strong believer. I'm a strong believer of what Nelson Mandela said, that everything is always impossible until someone does it. Well, I'm gonna be the one, I said to myself, I'm gonna do it and I'm gonna show it to them. Maybe it has never been done before. That's perfectly fine with me, but I'm gonna do it. Work your ass off. There is no magic out there. And it drives me crazy when people say that they don't have enough time to go to the gym for 45 minutes a day and work out. Or to do something for 45 minutes to an hour a day to improve. If it is physically improve or if it is mentally to improve. Imagine you read 1 hour a day about history. How much you will learn after 365 hours in 1 year. Think about if you study about the history of musicians, of composers, how much you would know. Imagine if you would work on a business, on some business that you want to develop every day for an hour. Imagine how further along you will go and get. So it drives me nuts because we have, when people say we don't have the time, we have 24 hours a day. We sleep 6 hours a day, so that gives you still 18 hours. Now there's someone shaking their head out here in front. They say probably, I don't sleep 6 hours, I sleep 8 hours, right? Or just sleep faster. So we have 18 hours a day. The average person works around 8 to 10 hours. So let's assume it's 10 hours, so we have 8 hours left. Then you travel around an hour a day, maybe 2 hours a day. So now you have still 6 hours left. So what do you do with these 6 hours? What do you do with these 6 hours? Then we eat a little bit, then we schmooze a little bit, talk a little bit to people and all that stuff. But you can see how much time there is available if you organize your day. So you got to work hard.
Bottom line is, and why I like to do those seminars or those lectures or those motivational speeches or whatever you may call it, is because you can pump up people and you can really give them this extra push that they need. Give them encouragement, give them get them into a positive thinking mode and all of those things, because I know that I'm a product of exactly that. Yeah. I remember that when I was 15 years old and picking up this magazine and reading about Reg Park, I was so pumped up. I went home and all of the things that I hated at home and all of the things that I hated in school all of a sudden disappeared, because now I had a purpose. Now I knew where I was going. I read it in the magazine, I said, this is what Reg Park did. Oh yeah, he came from a poor place, Leeds. It was a factory town, it was dirty and polluted and everything like this. And that's where he grew up. That's kind of the way I grew up here. And, you know, I followed his footsteps and it worked. And so this is why it is so, when he just through a magazine has this kind of a power over me. Yep. Imagine now if we go there and tell people, life, you can do it. You can do it. You can be the greatest. Do it. Go for it. Get to the chopper. You know, whatever. I mean, it's like you pump people up, and so this is why I like doing it, because I feel like I'm a product of a lot of encouragement from so many people. So I want to do the same, because remember, in the end, I always say we're not judged by how much we make, but we're judged by how much we give back. Nice. How much do we give? So that's what I want to give something back.